What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Myers96 and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how to paint like a pro and how to save money on simple home improvements you could do yourself. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe because you do not want to miss out on any of my future videos. I'm going to be posting all types of videos, from entertaining videos to motivational and even more how-tos. There are three major keys to painting like a pro. First off, never rush. You can work fast but never rush painting. That's when you run into little mistakes. Number two, always pull the paint. Multiple thin layers are always better than one thick coat, because that's when you run into problems like drips, thick, heavy lines. When you brush, it doesn't come out nice. Number three, make sure you put good effort into prepping. You want to scrape off and sand off any excess bumps or abnormalities to the wall or furniture, whatever you're painting. Number two, tape off and cover everything. You don't want paint on any floor, any furniture, nothing. Or if you're even painting furniture next to a wall, make sure you tape off the wall so you can get nice and tight with the brush. Also, you're going to want to make sure you go over and spackle and fill any little holes, because you don't want holes. It's not going to come out good.
This is an example of what you don't want. Whoever painted this did not put in the effort.
This is a little hole. It wasn't filled with spackle or anything. It looks like she tried to paint over it and try to fill it with paint. That's a no. You can tell this was a thick coat of paint and it wasn't pulled out very nicely. And here you can even see brush marks. To avoid this, you're going to want to pull it nice and thin, and if you get anything like this, like a little drip, you're going to want to scrape it off with like a spackle knife or something, and then sand it down a little bit, and then go over with another thin coat of paint.
So once you're complete with your prep and you've already completed your prime coat, now you want to go ahead with your finish. This finish right here is a semi-gloss white. You want to start with a brush and hit all the corners and tight spots you cannot hit with the roller. As you can see here, I'm only dipping a tiny bit onto the brush, and then I'm dabbing it on the tray to remove some of the excess paint. You can also see I twist the brush a little bit so I can get the bristles in those tiny little tight corners. With the brush, you really have to go over each spot. You don't want to leave any thick spots, because that's how you get those brush marks. You want to continuously pull that paint and never leave any piles so you don't get any drips. Drips are very unpleasant. You don't want that. You want to hold the brush similar to a pencil and continuously pull down. I advise to work from the top to the bottom so you don't get confused on where you started. You want to continue brushing until your brush is almost fully out of paint. And once you're there, go back over the spots you just hit to make sure that you don't leave any excess paint. You don't want any drips again. Painting is something very important you want to learn. If you don't learn it and you have someone else paint your house, it could cost you thousands of dollars. Once you're done edging with the brush and hitting all the corners, you want to move on to the roller. Dip the roller a tiny bit and roll out the excess paint on the tray. Equivalent to when you're brushing, you want to make sure you pull the paint as far as it can go and continuously roll back and forth in a similar direction. Also, when you are rolling, you only want to hit the same spot twice and then let it dry. While paint is drying, you might see some different coloration, or it might look different in some spots. But you don't ever want to touch that while it's drying, because once it's dry, that'll all blend in. And that's mainly why you're going to want to paint up and down in the same direction, because if you're painting zigzags across, it's going to come out weird and you'll see the little bit of glare. Here you can see I'm going over the molding and hitting them corners with the brush. When you're painting the molding, you want to get as close to the ceiling as possible, but stay at that caulk line. Don't go past that, because most of the time ceilings are a matte finish and they're not shiny. So you can totally see the difference between the shiny paint you're putting on the wall opposed to the matte finish on the ceiling. Don't forget to work top to bottom. Here I worked all the way across from the top on the left to the right. And once I finished that, I moved down to the second level, worked from the left to the right. Once I was done with that, I moved to those columns and did each individual shelf, top to bottom. While painting, you're always going to want to have a damp cloth on you, because if you ever hit a tiny spot, you can always wipe it off a little bit, or if you drip a tiny bit on the desk below you or anything, you can just wipe it off real quick. It's always helpful to have something with you that you can easily clean up. Also, you're going to want to keep plastic baggies with you, just in case you ever have to run out of the house or go somewhere real quick. You can just put your brush inside the plastic bag, tie it up, and then you can use it later. And the same goes for your tray. You just wrap that baby in a plastic bag and you're good. When pouring paint into your tray, you just want to be cautious. You don't want it to splatter, splash, or anything. Just go slow and then tilt it back up slowly. With the excess paint that'll drip down the side, I use the brush to grab it. And then, if I'm near the spot, maybe I'll use it on the wall or I'll just put it in my tray. Furthermore, when painting furniture, always save the countertop for last. Before you paint it, go over the entire countertop with a damp cloth to ensure that there will be no unwanted textures. After the first coat dries, you will want to go over it with a fine grit sandpaper, like a 220. Not only will this smooth out the finish, but it will help the paint bond together. In conclusion, keep it neat, take your time, and do not rush. If you like this video, please let me know down in the comment section. I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. Here are some extra clips I thought you might like. Until next time, have a good day, and thank you for watching.